Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans.
Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. This is Ryan.
This is Jake.
And this is our Banzuke review episode for the Nagoya 2019 Basho. If you are looking forward to your favorite part of every preview podcast, which is the Banzuke overview section, don't look for it in the preview section. We're going to cover everything here from now on and completely skip that in our preview episodes.
That's okay. That means that only I have to endure it and the other guys can skip it.
Exactly. The only thing that will be left over is our newcomers to Makuuchi profile. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into the Banzuke. At Yokozuna, no surprises here. We have Kakuryu on the east side and Hakuho on the west side. As always, east is just a little bit more, I can't think of the right word. I want to say prolific. Prestigious is the correct word. Thank you, Jake.
Vocabulary manager, Jake, you mean?
Sure, yes. Why not?
That's what I have printed on my business cards at work. I provide a valuable service. Moving on.
Yes. Completely expected as Hakuho missed the Basho and Kakuryu participated, therefore they flip-flop on the Banzuke. At Ozeki, there are no shuffling of positions as Goedo will remain your East Ozeki 1, and Takayasu will be your Ozeki 1 West, and Takakeisha will be your Ozeki East 2. I think I said that the order of the Ozeki, the side, and the number, a different time for each of those guys.
It's okay. I was already blanked out.
I am not the consistency manager of this podcast, as you can see.
That's Mac. So we're toast.
Yep. But we do have a newcomer to the... Well, not a newcomer, but new to Ozeki ranks for this Basho. Tochinoshin regaining his Ozeki rank. He is at Ozeki West 2. And so far, everything is lining up exactly with what I predicted. So let's go on to some more picks that I got exactly correct, where we have Mitakayumi as your Sekiwake East and Tamawashi as your Sekiwake West. And then we get to Komusubi, and I start getting things a little bit wrong. On the east side, we have Abi, who is at a career-high rank here, and this is his Sanyaku debut. And that goes right along with Komusubi West, Ryuden, also at his career-high rank, also at his Sanyaku debut, and kind of interesting to note that these guys debuted in Makuuchi together, and now they're both making their Sanyaku debut at Komusubi at the same time.
Quit taking those fun facts. I'm here for the color commentary stuff.
Oh, sorry.
Stay in your lane.
All right, I apologize.
Did you know that they debuted in Makuuchi at the same time?
I did know that from when I said it 20 seconds ago.
Yeah, and in this most recent Basho, they actually both finished at 10 and 5 with a special prize, moving up from Megashira 4 and Megashira 5. So is that about where you expected that jump to be?
Up to Komusubi?
Yeah, I noticed that this wasn't exactly what you predicted, but does it shock you too much?
It doesn't shock me at all. On the Banzuke prediction episode, I had 3 contenders for Komusubi rank, Abi, Ryuden, and Asanoyama, who won the Yusho. I had selected Asanoyama to take the top Komusubi spot and Abi to be the west side and Ryuden to just miss out. Obviously, I missed that. So some of the reasons they might have gone with Ryuden over Asanoyama is Ryuden was a higher rank than Asanoyama, although Ryuden had less wins and fewer special prizes, and he did not win the Yusho, and he lost the head-to-head to Asanoyama.
So it sounds like, the way you're starting this segment, that Asanoyama probably should have gotten the nod, but obviously he didn't.
Exactly, yeah. Ryuden gets it. It's not that Ryuden is undeserving. I just think Asanoyama was more deserving. Obviously, the Banzuke committee wants to see a little bit more from the Yusho winner. I'm thinking if Asanoyama had 13 wins, he easily would have taken that Komusubi slot.
Yeah, and there's also the point about strength of schedule.
We will get to that in just a few ranks. We'll kind of
sounds
talk
good to
about
me.
that.
I will shut back up.
So that will wrap up the Sanyaku ranks. So let's move on to the Zone of Death. And also for this Basho, it is the Logjam at the Joy. So at Maegashira 1, we have Asanoyama, also at his career high. That's 3 straight guys with their career high. pretty good for them, I guess.
Yeah, did you know that this is a career high rank for all three of these guys right in a row?
Really?
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yeah, I'm the fun fact / color commentary guy for this episode. No big deal. I kind of got this stuff on lock, but I'm slow on the draw.
Yeah, it's all right. If we can just get confirmation of each of the facts that I lay out, about 15 to 20 second delay after I say that, I think people are going to turn this episode off within the first 5 minutes.
What if I Madden it up a little bit? Go with like the John Madden color commentary route.
You know, if that guy had more wins than losses...
Stay in your lane.
I am sorry.
Stay in your lane. We'll get there.
Throw in a little bit of Madden when you feel it necessary.
Okay, if I'm too slow on a fun fact and I got to come in afterwards, I'll make sure that it's exciting.
Perfect. Like I said, Maegashira 1 East, Asanoyama, he ends up as the top Maegashira Nishi, and he's going to have a tough test to earn his first trip to Sanyaku, as Asanoyama has never been in the Joy before, so he's going to be facing a full slate of Sanyaku Nishi in the upcoming Basho.
Yeah, if nobody's injured, he's going to face both Yokozuna, probably all 4 Ozeki, 2 Sekiwaki, 2 Komusubi. These are all guys that maybe 1 or 2 he's faced in the past, but like those absolute top guys, all the Ozeki, all the Yokozuna, they're not guys that he's normally had to contend with. So a 12-3 last Basho doesn't tell us a ton about how he's going to perform this time, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's the strength of schedule way through the roof on this one.
Yeah, and just to kind of preface this section, we talked about it in the Banzuke prediction episode, but there are a lot of guys, starting with that Komusubi rank, who deserve to be in ranks like Komusubi through Maegashira 3, but we have about 3 or 4 extra guys that we really can't fit into there. So from Maegashira 1 to Maegashira 5, it's kind of just like, here's a group of people that could have been in any one of these ranks, really, and it's just kind of seemingly random to me how they decided who was going where. I read the Tachi, their Banzuke kind of results page comparing to how they did, and he said they pretty much just put these Rikishi here and drew names out of a hat for the order that they were in. So at Maegashira 1 West, we have Hokuto Fuji only dropping down a half rank as he was 7 and 8 in the previous Basho. At Maegashira 2, we have Aoyama dropping down to Maegashira 2 East from Komusubi. He had a 6 and 9 record, and Endo only moving down a half rank. Well, no. Yeah, Endo moving down a half rank from Maegashira 2 East to Maegashira 2 West with a 7 and 8 record. All of these guys I missed by a full rank on my prediction, as I had Asanoyama at Komusubi, Hokuto Fuji at Maegashira 2, Aoyama at Maegashira 3, and Endo also at Maegashira 3.
You just thought they were going to bump some of the lower guys up a little higher?
I thought some of the guys like who we're going to get to at Maegashira 3 here, Shodai and Meisei with their 10 and 5 records, I thought they deserved a little bit more of a jump in the rankings. Obviously, gotcha. The Banzuke committee did not see that the same way. So speaking of Maegashira 3 and Shodai, he is your Maegashira 3 East Rikishi and Daisho at Maegashira 3 West. And so this Maegashira 3 rank kind of destroys a couple of things that we've mentioned in all of our Banzuke episodes so far. The first one being Shodai gets lucky on the Banzukes as a 10 and 5 record. I thought he should have been Maegashira 1, and so him coming in at Maegashira 3, kind of a little bit of a snub for him there. But also kind of the bigger thing that I've been using as a rule of thumb is I've always used, if you have 2 Rikishi at the same rank and then they have the same record, then I just move them up equally on the Banzuke, and so that they're right next to each other on the next Banzuke. And this rank just completely destroyed that, as we have 2 pairings that were split up here. So Shodai and Meisei, both Maegashira 7 in the last Basho, both 10 and 5. We have Shodai here at Maegashira 3, and Meisei, we have yet to see where he lands on this Banzuke. And we also had Endo and Daisho, who were Maegashira 2 in the last Basho. Endo obviously was at Maegashira 2, and Daisho being at Maegashira 3. So breaking up both of those pairs.
Yeah, as much as it physically and just viscerally pains me to do this, I got to give you a little bit of credit here, because it seems like there's if it's a pattern that we've seen in the past, it may very well be that this is a rule or a guideline that they follow when they're making the Banzuke, and maybe it just didn't work out this time because of other records nearby.
Yeah, I think just because there was such a logjam here that it caused that just wanting to drop some guys a little bit less so that you can't always... Yeah, whatever. It worked out so that it's broke up those two pairings.
I would love to see either later in this Banzuke or maybe on the next one, like if that side-by-side pairing, if we see that pattern come back. Because it very well could be something that is aesthetically pleasing, so sometimes they do it if there's nothing else at stake. But yeah, I'd love to see if that returns.
Yeah, and doing some research for this Banzuke, I looked at the previous year's worth of Banzukes just to see if that pattern held. And for the past year, every time that you had two Dixie next to each other on Banzuke that had the same record, they were next to each other on the next Banzuke. So it was a pretty good pattern. So maybe this is just an exception, or who knows? Maybe not enough research was done into that.
Yeah, there's just a lot of weird stuff going on in this Joy.
Yeah. So going on to Maegashira 4, we have the aforementioned Meisei, who is also at a career high. So that's our 4th career high on this episode. And we are going to start giving out some awards on this episode. And so Meisei gets our first award with the Snub of the Banzuke award, as I think he should have been at least Maegashira 2 and ending up at Maegashira 4. I had a pretty good idea that the Snub of the Banzuke was going to come in this area, as we knew somebody wasn't going to be ranked properly. I just think that a guy that ends up with double-digit wins should get preferential treatment over somebody who ends up with like a 6-9 record or a 7-8 record. So I thought he should have been up ahead of guys like Aoyama, Endo, Hokuto Fuji, who all had losing records in the previous Basho. And Meisei having a 10-5 record. So he is getting my official Snub of the Banzuke award. The first ever.
And I hope that he prints out this podcast and frames it, because that's very prestigious. It's the first award given, and the first of this type, especially in the entire Banzuke prediction series that we've done.
Yeah, it is a super prestigious award. I really hope he treasures winning this, and I look forward to seeing his response to us and his thank you that he will send our way, I'm sure is coming in the mail any moment now.
Oh, Meisei, yeah. I mean, by all means, feel free to contact us. If we got time, maybe we can squeeze something into the show, but...
Might get him on for an interview or something.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And to finish out Maegashira 4, on the west side, we have Ichinojo, who is dropping down from Sekiwake 1 East after a very disappointing Basho, where he went 5-10, and that includes a couple of absences, as he did pull out in the middle of the Basho and then come back in. And so with these rankings, how they ended up, I'm really starting to get the feeling that the Banzuke committee is giving an upper hand to the Rikshi that faced a full Sanyaku schedule and did reasonably well with at least a 7-8 record.
You're referring to like Hokuto Fuji, Endo, and Daisho, who managed a full 7 wins, even though they didn't get their Kachikoshi, they still faced all the hard guys.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of why I'm thinking they consistently, all of those guys that faced the Sanyaku schedule are ahead of Shodai and Meisei, who had 10-5 records for Maegashira 7, easily could have vaulted ahead of those guys, but they didn't go up against a whole slate of the top guys in this Basho. So I'm thinking the Banzuke committee is starting to give more preferential treatment to those guys and just saying, hey, you went up against tougher competition, we're going to reward you for that, as opposed to guys who do well against lower-ranked guys.
Well, you see, when you got the tougher competition... Yeah, I'm going to stop doing my Madden voice. But yeah, so the tougher competition, you mentioned that this is... You said the word starting. Do you think this is something that is more of a factor in this Banzuke than it was in recent ones?
I have no idea. Maybe they've done this for a while.
It makes sense to me, but yeah, it seems like just based on a couple of the things that didn't go your way in this Banzuke compared to the last couple ones, maybe it's just something that's a larger factor because of the way things turned out, you think?
Yeah, it could be. I'm not 100% sure, but it could also be the reason why Ryuden got the nod at Komusubi over Asanoyama. So despite all the things that I said before, Asanoyama beat Ryuden. He had a better record. He won the Yusho. He got more special prizes. Ryuden, in the end, faced almost a full Sanyaku schedule when Asanoyama only went up against 3 or 4 Sanyaku Dikshi. So going forward, I'm going to try to look a little bit more at kind of just align my values with what I believe the values of the Banzuke committee are. Try to maybe give a little benefit of the doubt to guys like Hokuto Fuji, Endo with only a 7-8 record when you're going up against a full Sanyaku schedule.
Yeah, and I mean that's all this is, predicting the Banzuke. We're just trying to figure out how heavily each factor is weighted. So
yeah,
I think this, even if this isn't the best Banzuke that you've done so far, I mean it's pretty close. You did really good. Even if it's not, it definitely feels like one that's given you a lot more data points in your predictions.
Yeah, and it feels like every single Banzuke has a unique problem in its own way. So hopefully I can remember back to this time next time we have a super large logjam at the top of the Maegashira ranks. And just kind of comparing to how I did in this section, I didn't get a single guy spot on from Komosubi to Maegashira 4 East, even missing by a full 2 ranks with some guys like Meisei and Shodai.
Meisei, you mean the guy that was unjustly and brutally snubbed?
Exactly. So much so that he won the award Snub of the Banzuke.
That sounds prestigious.
Yeah. But we get to Maegashira 4 West. We already mentioned Ichinojo there. I did correctly place that, and that actually is going to begin my best ever non-Sanyaku streak of correctly placed Rikshi.
Wow.
Exactly. I deserve that, because at Maegashira 5... I correctly predicted on the east side we would have Kodo Shogeku, and on the west side we would have Takuto Fuji. At Maegashira 6, I correctly predicted on the east side we would have Chiyo Tairyu, and on the west side we would have Shima no Umi, career high number 5.
Yeah, he's actually making a pretty solid jump here.
That is. He was 10-5 at Maegashira 12, and so just kind of how it ended up that he was able to make this big jump. It's not really an unprecedented jump for a 10-5 record. So
No, but it's a little bit bigger than normal, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially you look at guys like Shodai and Meisei who only jumped up 3 or 4 ranks.
Right, sure.
So Shima no Umi, this is only his second ever Makuuchi Basho, and to be ranked at Maegashira 6 might be his first, well, not his first stumbling block. The dude's 29. It took him a while to get to Makuuchi, but might be his first Makuuchi stumbling block.
The next level of reality check from previous reality checks.
Exactly. At Maegashira 7, I correctly predicted Miyogiryu on the east side and Tomokaze on the west side. Tomokaze, our 6th career high. This is, I haven't done any research, but...
Is this a career high of career highs?
It could be.
My God.
And we're not even done yet. Tomokaze getting his 2nd straight Makuuchi Kachikoshi, continuing his streak of never having any Makekoshi, so we'll see if Maegashira 7 will finally be the rank that gives him his first Makekoshi, or maybe he'll just never get one.
I was about to say it has happened, but I'm not positive that it has.
I don't think so.
Probably not.
No.
But no, I mean, he cut it real close in his last one, but he's one of those guys, I certainly wouldn't put him on the level of like a Takakeisho level phenom, but he's definitely in the, he's on the same spectrum. He's a phenom who is very young, made it very high very quickly, and has yet to have a losing record. So I'm excited that another small step up in competition. I kind of hope that he keeps making little jumps,
Yeah.
Not have these Shima no Umi reality check potential to get totally crushed, but
Exactly.
Oh well.
And at Maegashira 8, I correctly predicted Okinoumi on the east side. Let me try that again. Okinoumi on the east side and Onosho on the west side.
Hey Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Banzuke.
Oh, no. Is that switched?
It looks like you got him switched.
Oh, no. Then I did not correctly predict that at all. It looks like Onosho... Wait, no. No, I just put it wrong on the page. So Onosho is on the east side, and Okinomi is on the west side. When I wrote up this outline, I accidentally switched those guys. That is how I predicted them. That is how they ended up. My perfect streak is still intact.
Oh, thank Christ.
All right, and then at Maegashira 9, where we enter what we had termed the bottom of the Banzuke S show, we called it the part where I was going to get it completely wrong. This time it's the part where I was mostly just barely off. But
So you end your career high streak of perfect slots, but now we're going to enter a pretty solid streak where you had only a tiny bit off.
yes, so Shohozan on the east side of Maegashira 9 rank does end my streak of 10 straight perfect placements, which is a record for me in the non-Sanyaku ranks because Sanyaku is a little bit easier to predict how that is going to shake out. So at Maegashira 9 West, we have Daishoho, 7th career high.
Nice.
And that is a 7 numbered rank jump for a 9-6 record in the previous Basho. He was at Maegashira 16 all the way up to Maegashira 9 with a 9-6 record, which is nuts.
No, that's customary.
It is not. But surprisingly, it is not unprecedented. And how I figure out what is a precedented jump or not is I just use the Sumo database, the 5th member of the GSB podcast.
Who also sometimes doesn't show up to the podcast.
Quite often doesn't show up to the podcast.
But today he's doing okay.
Yeah. I just go to their query tool and I type in the rank and what record it was, and then I hit search, and it shows me the record for that Basho, which I just entered what it was, and then what their ranking was in the next Basho. So I can quickly scroll through and see every Maegashira 16 that has ever gotten a 9-6 record and see if any were placed at Maegashira 9 or above, which has happened a few times in the past.
That is awesome. I think regardless of my bias towards sumo wrestling as a sport, I think this is like one of the greatest resources, just like for basically anything. Like
it really
there's
is.
So much data, and it's so easy to, most of the time. I mean, if you got a really weird question, maybe not, but like most of the time, you can get a really, really good summary of data that's relevant to what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if, for example, if you're trying to start a bonus episode on a podcast or
pretty much starting a bonus episode on podcast or filling out the fun facts section.
Or filling out fun
of
facts
an
sections.
aforementioned podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Anything, really.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have Sumo Database do my taxes this next year. I mean, I feel like that's...
You'll probably double the amount that you'll get back.
At the very least.
Or you'll get audited by the IRS and very bad things will happen
I think
you.
this joke has run its course.
I think so. Maegashira 10, we have 2 more career highs with, on the east side, Kotowako.
That was even worse than my sound effect.
We'll let the viewers decide. On the east side, we have Kotowako, and then on the west side, we have Takagenji, and this is also his Makuuchi debut, so obviously it is his career high. And so, going back to Kotowako real quick, he jumped up 5 numbered ranks for an 8-7 record, which is also nuts, but also not unprecedented.
What? How'd you find that out?
The exact same process we described before.
Oh, good.
And then we have Takagenji, who won the Juryo Yusho last time with a 13-2 record from Juryo 2, and so he's jumping way up in the standings. And so I did a little bit better this time with the high-ranked Juryo guy that had a fantastic record, and I only missed him by 1 numbered rank this time instead of the 4 numbered ranks like I did with Shimanoumi in the last Basho. Shimanoumi also had a 13-2 record, was ranked higher than Takagenji last time. So maybe Shimanoumi could have been ranked a little bit higher last time, made my Banzuke look a little bit better.
Well,
Banzuke committee guys.
That's what you predicted, right? Shimanoumi did not get as big a promotion as you expected last time, right?
Right.
But Takagenji did this time.
Yeah, he was only... I had him at Maegashira 9, where Daishoho fell, and instead he's at Maegashira 10. So pretty close to what happened there. It seems like there was a precedent for Juryo guys to make large jumps into the Makuuchi division all the way into the single digits. Like, I think we've mentioned a few times on this podcast, Kakuryu had a 6-9 record at Juryo, made it all the way up to Maegashira 9 or 8 in just...
Do you mean 9 and 6?
Yeah, 9 and 6, and then
Right.
made it up to Maegashira 8 or 9. So there's obviously precedent for those huge jumps happening. It just seems like recently, especially with Shimanoumi and Takagenji, that the Banzuke committee isn't wanting to award that high of jumps. And so, I mean, I would even say that Takagenji deserves to be, would typically, if he was in Makuuchi in the previous Basho, would have been ranked higher than Daishoho because he had 5 more wins than Daisho, or 4 more wins than Daishoho, 5 more wins than Kotowako, while only being a few numbered ranks below them. So it wouldn't surprise you at all for him to jump above them in the rankings. But I think the Banzuke committee has their value set at that competition level So similar to like the Sanyaku ranks, they're going to value the wins that people get against Makuuchi wrestlers more than a fantastic record against Juryo wrestlers.
Yeah, it seems like there's a couple tiers here. There's there's a tier jump between Juryo and Makuuchi, and there's a tier jump between Megashira like 5 and 6 versus Megashira 2, 3, 4. Depending on your level of competition, it seems like there's definitely enough evidence to point to that being a factor that is considered.
Yeah. That being said, I don't have too high of hopes for Takagenji here.
No.
Going all the way up to
shut
Maegashira 10. We'll see what happens. I don't have high hopes. Maegashira 11, on the east side, we have Yoshikaze, and on the west side, we have Nishikigi. And so if we take a look at Nishikigi, he only dropped 2 numbered ranks from Maegashira 9 to Maegashira 11 for a 5 and 10 record, which is, once again, nuts. But this...
And once again...
This one does happen to be unprecedented. As far as I can tell, based on my research on Sumo Database, no Maegashira 9 has ever had a 5 and 10 record and only dropped to Maegashira 11. And so Nishikigi, he wins our second award, which is the Luck of the Banzuke Award. Yes, that half-hearted air horn is...
It was half-hearted, but it's better than yours. Move on.
We'll see. and so, I mean, that's not even overlooking Yoshikaze having a 4 and 11 record from Maegashira 6 and only dropping down to Maegashira 11. Kind of how this Banzuke ended up. It ended up exactly how I thought. Logjam at the start of the Banzuke, which was going to push some people down below where they deserve to be ranked. And then right around these Maegashira 9, 10, 11, 12, just nobody really deserves to be ranked in these spots. And so you're having crazy things like Nishikigi only dropping 2 spots with a 5 and 10 record.
And the normal rule of thumb is you'd expect approximately as many rank drops or gains as the difference between wins and losses, right?
Yeah, so 5 and 10 record, I would expect like a 4 or 5 numbered rank drop.
Gotcha. And I know it's just a rule of thumb. It's not like a
hard and fast rule.
Exactly. But yeah, so when you're expected about 5 and you only drop 2, that's very silly. And that's again, just like the top, it's just a coincidence of the way things worked out that there's such weird snubs and, guys getting lucky and stuff like that.
Speaking of guys getting lucky, at Maegashira 12, on the east side, Tochiozan only dropping from Maegashira 11 West to Maegashira 12 East with a 6 and 9 record.
So that's a half a rank, not even a full rank.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And on the west side, you have Kagayaki, who also had a 5 and 10 record and is also dropping only 2 numbered ranks with that 5 and 10 record. But that is barely precedented, as it happened one time before in 1944. The
Gotcha.
40s were a weird time because that's also where we had somebody who had a 5 and 10 record who was promoted from Maegashira 9 West to Maegashira 9 East somehow.
That's weird. Was there anything else going on in the mid-40s in Japan? I can't think of anything serious, but, maybe there's other weird stuff going on that could have done it. I am curious, when you're saying that you found precedent or not precedent, you're only talking about people who started at the exact rank that we're looking at, right?
So I'm saying... So when I looked up Nishikigi, I just looked up everybody who was Maegashira 9. So east or west side, it didn't matter.
Okay. Gotcha. So of the people at Megashira 9 who finished 5 and 10, that's where you looked up if this has happened before, only a 2 rank drop.
Correct.
Cool. Okay. So Kagayaki, exact same situation as Nishikigi, but 1 rank lower. But in this case, it's only happened the 1 time.
Yeah, exactly. And more guys getting lucky. Maegashira 13, Chiyomaru on the east side and Sadanumi on the west side. Both of these guys not moving in the Banzuke after having 7 and 8 records. And I will point out, like, the past 3 ranks or so, I've been off by like a half rank for each of these guys. So, like, Chiyomaru, I had him at Maegashira 13 West. Sadanumi, I had him at Maegashira 14 East. So I had these guys in this area just kind of one off from where they ended up. We come to Maegashira 14 East and Toyonoshima, and I owe Jake a super special high five.
Let's get a good wind up on it.
Yeah.
Nice.
That might have sounded like an incredibly normal, if not disappointing, high five.
It was just really far from the microphones, that's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
If you could have seen the electricity in our eyes during that high five, you would have known how super special it was. The reason Jake earned...
That electricity probably interfered with the microphones, too.
Hopefully we don't have to record this again, because I'm not doing it.
Yeah, me neither.
That aforementioned super special high five that Jake earned was because he predicted Toyo Noshima would be my worst pick on the Banzuke, and that ended up being true as I missed him by 2.5 ranks because of the dearth of candidates that we had at Maegashira 11 rank. I had Toyo Noshima jumping all the way from Juryo 1 East to that Maegashira 11 rank. Didn't quite make it that high, only made it up to Maegashira 14, so shame on me.
I have some notes here written down for my response to this. Neat.
Very neat indeed. And
anyways,
yes, on the west side, we have Enho, who is also benefiting from a 7-8 record and not moving at all in the rankings. At Maegashira 15, we have Yago on the east side and Kaisei on the west side. Once again, just off by 1 on both of these guys. So that's why I said just mostly... barely just missed all of these guys. Because most of these guys off by 1, except for that Toyo Noshima fella.
But this is Banzuke predicting. This isn't horseshoes and hand grenades.
That's true.
This is serious stuff.
This is the most serious of all stuff. And so to wrap up this Banzuke, at Maegashira 16, on the east side, we have Kodayuki jumping all the way up from Juryo 6. And on the west side, I finally have another perfect prediction. Terutsuyoshi as the last guy in the Makuuchi division at Maegashira 16 West. He stays in there. He could have easily been demoted with a 6-9 record at Maegashira 15 East, but really there were no other deserving promotees from Juryo. And so we have 3 guys coming up from Juryo. We have Kodayuki, we have Toyo Noshima, and we have Takagenji. That means we got to say goodbye, at least for now, to 3 guys that were in Makuuchi and going down to Juryo for the Nagoya Basho as Tokushoryu, Ishiura, and Chiyoshoma.
And Ishiura's demotion means we have to go at least one more Basho without Hakuho having a Tiny Boy Dohyo Iri.
Yes, he will have a half Tiny Boy Dohyo Iri,
right,
at least, as Enho will be able to participate in the Dohyo Iri as long as Hakuho is participating. We'll get to that in the preview episode. So let's just kind of look at how I did in my prediction compared to what actually happened. So I got a total of, I think this number is a little outdated because I think I messed some stuff up, but I think I got a total of 17 exactly correct predictions out of a possible 42. So that's going to be high 30s, low 40s in the percentage. Jake is...
Nope, I got 19.
Okay, Jake got 19, so no. I got 19 bullseyes out of a possible 42. 45% correct prediction rate. Last time I was at 55% exact prediction rate.
I do think it's fair to note that last time, your previous Banzuke, the one that you predicted for Natsu, you absolutely drilled that one. That was your best performance ever, for sure. So it's not saying a ton that you couldn't quite measure up to that bar, but you still did do very good.
Yeah, a lot of what screwed me on this one and what makes it look worse is I was off by half rank on a lot of the guys in the bottom half of the Basho. But that half rank was the difference between Maegashira 11 or Maegashira 12. Like I had Tochiozan at Maegashira 12. No, not Tochiozan. That's one I actually got the correct rank. But I had Nishikigi at Maegashira 12 East, and he ended up at Maegashira 11 West, which is only a half rank, but because it is a different number, it makes it feel worse than if I had Nishikigi at Maegashira 11 East and he ended up Maegashira 11 West.
And you should feel worse.
So the guys that I had 4 guys that at the correct rank, but the wrong side. So I had them on the east side, but they ended up on the west side. So that's going to put me at 23 hits, which is a term stolen from the Guess the Banzuke contest. That you can easily find by Googling. I brought it up on the last episode. And that's a 55% hit rate, where my previous best was an 81% hit rate, which just lets you know how good I did on the Natsu one. And I'm going to keep track what my previous bests for all these were, just to kind of see how I do in history and hopefully keep stepping those numbers up as we go along.
Yeah, because this podcast is nothing without tracking stats.
That's pretty much 75% of this podcast. The other 25% is Mac and Fleric.
Oh, I was going to say insults.
Yeah, that's fair too. I had 10 more guys at the wrong rank, but only a half step off, as I described before. So that's 33 Dixie that I had off by only one rank, and so that's a 79% hit rate. And my previous best in the last Basho was 91%.
Holy crap!
So just to go over my total stats for this one, I missed a total of 38 ranks. Jake, do you want to explain how we got that 38 number?
Yeah, so the way that we set up our spreadsheet score totaler for Ryan, we have, if Ryan is off by one rank, or by a half rank, excuse me, that counts as 1 point. If he's off by a full number, that's 2 points.
So may say, for example, I had him at Maegashira 2 East. He ended up at Maegashira 4 East.
Yeah.
And so that's 2 numbered ranks, but 4 half ranks off. So this is counting the half ranks.
Exactly. So yeah, Abi and Ryuden at Komasubi, he had each of those guys a half a rank different. So they're each worth 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
So we total up Ryan's points and figure out what we So we total up Ryan's points. In this particular one, this Basho, he got 38 points. That's 38 total ranks among all of the guys in the entire Makuuchi division. We divide that by 42, because 42, no matter what, is the total number of guys in that division. And we figure out an average error, an average amount off that Ryan is. And for this Basho, that number is not 0.905.
So still less than 1 half rank.
Right. So Ryan averaged less than a half rank off, which is pretty good. The arbitrary scoring system that we have set up says that if he gets less than 1, that's an A.
I don't feel like an A after this one, honestly.
I don't feel like you're an A either, but that's just the system that we've got set up.
Hurtful, but all right.
That's why I'm here. I mean, you just record this alone if you didn't want to be insulted. You like it.
Yeah. I also want to keep track of what my worst guess was in each Banzuke. So this one, Toyo Noshima, was my worst guess. Was off by 5 half ranks with him. My previous worst was Shimano Umi from the previous Basho, was off by 8 half ranks or 4 numbered ranks. So this is my new best worst.
I actually double-checked on this one because I saw it in your notes. You actually tied your best worst. Does that make sense?
Well,
yeah. This is a tie for the least bad worst guess with the Banzuke you put together for Hatsu in January.
Well, I'm only counting from when we've recorded Banzuke review
okay,
episodes.
That's fair. We have data going back a couple Basho further back, but yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yep. And so overall Banzuke stats, this is the section you typically get at the beginning of our preview episode. So the biggest jumps on the Banzuke is going to be Takagenji jumping up 9 ranks, going from Juryo 2 to Maegashira 10.
Or 18 points, if we were to put it that way.
Correct. And we also had 3 guys jumping up 7 ranks, Asanoyama, Daishoho, and Kotoyuki. Our biggest drops on the Banzuke is Kaisei. He dropped 7 ranks from Maegashira 8 to Maegashira 15. And the 2 guys behind him who dropped 5 total ranks was Ichinojo and Yoshikaze. So as we kind of mentioned throughout the episode, we have 9 guys that will be at their career high in this Basho, which seems like a very large amount compared to usual.
Yeah, I mean, normally we get, 3 or 4 maybe? Something like that?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it can go up and down. It's unpredictable, but 9, I think it's very, very fair to say that 9 is a large number of guys who are competing against the toughest slate of opponents that they ever have.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under on 9 guys with their career high rank on the next Banzuke. Before any matches happen, I'm calling my shot.
I bet you we're probably pushing a record for guys with a career high record with a Makikoshi. I bet that is
True.
Probably something we're going to see a lot of.
We also have 2 guys that are making their Sanyaku debut in Abi and Ryuden. And we have Takagenji, who is the only guy that is making his Makuuchi debut. And just to go over those, not records, but the awards that we handed out earlier in the evening or morning, depends on when you're listening to it. The snub of the Banzuke goes to Meisei, who only had a 3 numbered rank jump for a 10-5 record, and the luck of the Banzuke goes to Nishikigi, who had a 2 numbered rank drop for a 5-10 record. And the super special high 5 status was earned and delivered.
How did that sound again? There you go.
Perfection. So that is all we have for our Banzuke review. You can get all of your typical Nagoya preview whatever's coverage.
Graceful.
Yeah, totally nailed that landing. You can get your Nagoya preview coverage in our Nagoya preview episode, which will be coming out midweek next week. And if you enjoyed this podcast, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast listening service.
Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and recently Instagram and YouTube. Our blog is GrandSumoBreakdown.com.
You can leave us any comments, corrections, or questions on our email at Grandsumo Breakdown, not at Grandsumo Breakdown.
Get rid of that
Twitter. GrandSumoBreakdown at gmail.com.
There it is.
Or you can leave us a voicemail at 805-613-7866. That is 805-613-SUMO. So, like I said, our preview episode will be out in about a week, and the Basho starts on July 7th, where we will be in Japan. Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Until next time, throw your salt high.
And keep moving forward.
Where we will be in Japan.
But too poor to go to the sumo thing more than once.
Well, yeah.
It's a lot.
Also, who wants to spend more than 2 days of their vacation in Nagoya?
My hips are already angry with me.